Hi everybody, I'm back with a project share. I'm gonna hold this video until I know that the person who I am gifting this to actually receives it. Um, but this is an altered little golden book that I created for a friend. And so let me show you some of what I used, and then I'll go through the book itself in some detail. Okay, so I purchased two of these little golden books for a really good price, antique shopping or, going to the thrift store. And this is actually the back cover of the second book that I had. It was very useful to create the spine of the book because, as you know, most little golden books are just a couple of pages stapled together between the binding. So I don't have a tutorial on this because there's plenty of tutorials on how to do an altered little golden book, and so I didn't bother to do a tutorial because there are so many, and I didn't follow any one particular person's tutorial because I kind of figured some of these things out on my own since I've done traveler's journals before. It's not that difficult, at least for me, to figure it out. So I had two books that I used, and I used some of these DIY shop. There's a page in there in the book that is one of these envelopes, and I actually pulled one out so you could see it. And what I did for this one is I actually attached this to a piece of the cardstock that I used inside the book as part of my pages. I also used some of these, well, I think one of them is a pocket this way, and there is a fold that I created it in the book to create the page itself. So this is one side and there's another page on the other side. I also use these cards. These are like card bases. They're pretty cheap. When I bought these, I did not intend on using them for creating cards because I don't like this as a base. I like thicker cardstock. I purchased this for the color of the cardstock. So these are perfect for gingers. As you can see, this story is the gingerbread man. Some of the stickers I used, these doodlebug shape sprinkles, because they're gingerbread. So I used, this is a new pack, but I used some of the gumdrops and some of the gingerbread men. Some of these little shape sprinkles, which to me they just look like little peppermint candies. This is a Martha Stewart sticker sheet. I use them all. They're in the book, so that's why you don't see anything here. This is an old sticker pack that I got from Marshall's long time back. So this one's called Cottage Christmas Baking Stickers. So you can imagine it's baking related because gingerbread man. And this says 2012 on the packaging. So sometime around that year is when they're created, but this is an old sticker pack. You probably cannot find it in the stores. I'd probably bet some of you have this in your stash and can use it. Now, what's this thingy? This thing is what I use to punch the holes to sew my book together. I have what you call a single signature inside, and as you know, most golden books are like this. This is how wide the original book spine would have been. It's really thick now because I've got, I believe, a 2-inch or 1.5-inch spine here. And this, all the pages are sewn in to the spine. When I first got the book, I disassembled it and it was just stapled together. So it was stapled through the front cover, through all the pages, to the back. So they're no longer stapled, they're sewn in. And this little gadget here, I think it's from We Are Memory Keepers. But this lets me align up the holes properly. I think I got this at Tuesday Morning, and it came in as a kit. I don't have the whole kit here, but this is the gadget that lets me figure out where the holes should be. It comes with an awl to punch the holes, and it comes with 2 needles and some wax thread. So it's a great kit to have. You don't need it to do this, but it sure does help when you want it to be even and you want it something, extra hands because this actually screws off, comes off. And if you can see, this side here is depressed. Well, it's got like a little V in it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's got a little V in it, so the spine can sit down in there. The spine of the papers can sit down in there, and you can punch your holes. And this would be on this side. I'm holding it all down. So that's kind of how it works, without having to show you how it works. This is some of the paper I use. I actually have some doilies in there from the Dollar Tree, I think. This is some paper that I picked up at a thrift store or antique mall shopping years ago. And you guys know what this is, right? If you if you went to school probably before the 1990s, you probably used this. I don't think they use this in the 90s anymore. But to learn how to do your letters and cursive and all that good stuff. But this is not the actual size of the paper. I cut it lengthwise. This is the actual width of the paper. I just cut some piece off the bottom here because it fit perfectly. If you look at this, it fits really well in the book lengthwise when you fold it in half. So I didn't have to cut any of, I'm sorry, not lengthwise, widthwise. I had to cut some off the bottom because it was a little bit too long. Not too much, but it was perfect. And, you know, little golden books have a place in my memories as a kid. As do, I think they do for, well, actually the person who's receiving this is I believe is a fan of Richard Scarry. So if you watch her videos, you may know this, who this is going to. And, so yeah, this is the, paper line that I used. Not all of the papers in the book are from this, but I believe all of the Graphic 45 papers you're going to see are from this collection. The Nutcracker collection. Nutcracker Sweet collection, sorry. And there's quite a few papers in this collection that have gingerbread on them. So, and it also, if you look at the front of the book, it has purple and green and red. So this was a perfect use for the papers in the book. Look at this one. So I use this collection to help augment the papers that are inside the book pages. So let me go through this. This may be a long video and I apologize. But you can see here there's fabric that's covering the spine. And this fabric is from Diana Markham. It has a gingerbread on it, but then it's centered so you can't really see him anymore because all of the little sewing that I did and then adding the buttons kind of hid the gingerbread. But here's a head down here. So, and there's a cookie cutter in here, but this is it was a perfect color for this book, I think. And so, like I said, I had two books, and because I had two books that were exactly the same, I was able to use the the cover of one of the books to create this spine here. So underneath, if you were to tear this up, you would see, you know, something like this on that piece. So you can see where the original cover is. When you take apart a little golden book, it ends around this, where this gold part is. And I didn't want to cover that up because, hello, it's a little golden book. The whole point of it is to be able to see that gold foil spine there. And this one is in pretty good condition. It's not too ripped up. I tried to save it a little bit better. There are parts and pieces where I had to bring the foil up so I could take the staples out. And I covered them up with packing tape. So that's why you can still see the pattern in this foil here. And then where the fabric and the original spine of the book meet, I have reinforced it under all these layers with Teflon. So it shouldn't come apart. And because, you know, obviously these two places meet and it's not very nice, I put some rickrack ribbon that I got from Michael's along that seam. I also added some corners to the book. The corners of the book were a little bit worse for wear. So to give it a little bit of a boost, I just added some corners, and I have a tool that I use to do that. I don't remember where it is. It's somewhere around here, but I used it to put the corners on, and you just basically, when you get the corners, they're open. They're basically like wider than this, and this tool it just crimps it basically. So I did not glue these or anything like that. They're just crimped onto the corner of the book. So you can see I put them on the back corners too, to give it a little bit of nice decoration. I did not, again, the whole point of this was to not cover any of the front cover image, because I believe this person is very into the illustrations by Richard Scarry. I went through my stash of buttons, picked out some buttons that would match the cover, and I found a little gingerbread one that had a shank. So all it is just threaded on to this stretchy band here that I had from, I think I got this from Michael's. It's like a rainbow color, and it matches the book really well. So I just put it on this stretchy band as a belly band for the book, because this book is chunky, and that's because it's an embellishment book, but it's also something else, and I'll show you that. So let me get started on the inside here, and all you got to do is just, do that, and it will stay attached because I've kind of looped it around this yellow button right here. It shouldn't come off. So like I said, this is a gift for an individual. This is one of those Martha Stewart stickers. Throughout the book, you're going to see some things other than the book pages. The book itself is still intact. It's in the order that you would read it in. And I don't think there were any markings throughout the book, so it was in pretty good condition. And so you can see one of the doilies that's sewn in there. It's actually one of the pages. The doilies I have round ones and I have rectangular ones in here. So it's got some stickers. And I'm not going to read the book to you. This story does not end well for the gingerbread man, by the way. She decides to make a gingerbread. I included one of my recipe tag stamps here, and this is a embellishment I've had for a long time in my stash, and I thought it would be perfect in here. And there's some of that nutcracker paper and some more stickers from the sticker sheet. Now here's the pocket. You guys, if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been collecting the wood stamps. This is one of those wood stamps that I got. I stamped it on some craft paper with Versamark ink, and I heat embossed it with white fine detail embossing powder. And then after I did that, I actually inked up the edges of the cookie to make it look like a baked gingerbread cookie, and then just stuck them on the flap. So there is a gift of things in here, and I'll leave it up to the recipient if they want to show what's in here, but it's stuff that you've probably already seen if you've watched my Christmas tag making videos. And then I added some paper to the flap of the envelope, so it covers up the gummy part of the envelope, the part that you lick traditionally. There's some lace here at the top that I added just as an added touch, and then I stamped this here. This is my handwriting. I thought I'd leave a little of myself in the book, and then stamp some of these little gingerbread stamps that I've been getting from, I think this is a dot stamp. I don't have my stamps out, but you guys, if you watch me long enough, you'll know what I've been collecting. So that's one of the reasons I've been collecting gingerbread, and I kind of went overboard perhaps with my stash, but yeah. So this is the other thing about the book. I decided I wanted to include some recipes in the book that are actual recipes, not just recipe stamps, stamped out ones, but these are actually from a book, and it's so that I do not encroach on somebody's copywritten material. These are actual pages from a cookbook, from multiple cookbooks, and there's some other things in here too. So I did cite my sources, and that'll be in the back I'll show that to you. So this is an actual page that I cut out of a recipe book. Okay. So when you see them, they are actual recipes. This is a different one. This is ginger shortcake. This came out from an English book. Not an English, well, a book made in England. A recipe book from England. So the recipes may be a little bit strange because like this says castor sugar. So you have to know what that is because we don't call it castor sugar here in the US. All right. More stickers from the actual sticker packs from Martha Stewart. And I did some sewing, by the way. Yeah, you can see that here. This is some ribbon from Paper Tray Ink. I had some, what do you call it? Remnants after I was doing my bow making. So I took it, cut it into 3 pieces and folded it in half and then sewed little tabs on the edges of the book. So you can see there's 3 of them in here. They're just decorative. And you can see I used some seam binding and did it the other direction. Here's another gingerbread man stamp that I had. And these were all fussy cut. After I stamped them, I heat embossed them all and did the inking. And you can see like this one, I don't know if you can see it, but it has some glitter on it. I dipped them in, I used that matte glue or matte fabric glue. What is it? I can never remember the name. This stuff. Dimensional fabric paint. It's white. And it dries matte. And so before it dried, I dipped it in some distressed rock candy glitter from Ranger Tim Holtz. It's not super sparkly, but you can see it really well when you're not in the camera. So again, I popped a lot of these up and put a little spatula in his hand. More stamping here. I gotta say, this little guy here looks a lot like this little guy. So I had a lot of fun kind of continuing him over here. And then here's a cookie from the sticker sheet. And here's some rickrack that I sewed. Apparently I can sew straight, just not straight along the edge. So it's okay. I like the way it looks still. There's a little sticker from Doodlebug and another cappuccino recipe. All right, here's another recipe here, and this looks vintage, right? It looks handwritten because it is. If you go on Etsy, excuse me, if you go on Etsy, there are some sellers of this type of thing where you can, they sell digitals, and this is a collection of recipes that someone had from his grandmother. So this is a set of I think it was 175 recipes, and they were all scanned in some in actual handwriting, some are typed up, but this is one of those, and it is a recipe for gingerbread. Mrs. Dennison's gingerbread is what it says, and hopefully the recipient can read this and maybe try this out. I have not tried any of these recipes, but grandma's recipe, come on, or somebody else's grandma recipe. So those are tucked in here too. Some of them are 2 cards, like because you can see these are index cards that were scanned. Some of them are 2 index cards, some of them are just a 1. Here's a little pocket with a doily. I made a flap to come up, and there's something tucked back in there. Again, I'll leave it for that person to show if they want to, if they care to. But you've seen these if you've seen my other tagged videos. Here's another sewn tab, some doily, some of that paper. And I just figured out where I wanted these sheets to be. They're not all lined up with the bottom. If you look at this, they're kind of staggered throughout the book, different heights on purpose. Here's a 2-page recipe for cocoa cream cake, and this is the frosting for the cake. So this is a handwritten recipe for that. Doily, the other side, here they go, chasing the gingerbread dude. She's out of breath. Here is a drink recipe, so something you would make at Christmas time if you're into that sort of thing. For an older crowd. That is legal, that is. Some tags. You guys have probably seen these if you watch my videos. Let's see. Here's another recipe here for favorite cupcakes. And then I put some mixing bowls. That is from that Martha Stewart sticker pack. This is that little pocket here. You can see that it is actually adhered to this card base. This is the card and the pocket. Now what I did was first I sewed it before I stitched the book in here. I sewed it down to that card, and I put rickrack over it too for some decoration, and then I also glued it in here. So this is glued to that card base really well. And then I put a little goodie in here. So again, the person can share that if they want. I won't go through that. You got to have some surprises, right? Caramel pecan shoes. So yeah, that sounds like a good recipe to try. It sounds yummy. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the book. Here's another tab that I've sewn in. Here's an envelope that I also put in here. It went the other direction because it was wide enough. So what I did was I sewed the edge of the envelope onto the paper that's behind it. And this paper is from the Nutcracker Graphic 45 collection. There's some goodies in there. So it formed a pocket, and I just put a sticker right here. And then the actual, these two are kind of sewn together. I just tucked the strings from the goodies back behind it so they wouldn't hang outside the book. All right. Another recipe for chocolate cookies. Chocolate cookies. That sounds good. Another sticker. There's one of my tags that I've shared before. It is clipped to this little pocket that I created out of the cardstock, and back in this pocket is a little jelly jar Ziploc of goodies. I won't take that out, but there are some goodies tucked down in there. And as we get to the back of the book, there is another gingerbread man that I stamped out and heat embossed, and then there's some glitter on the little holly pieces here. And I also inked the edges. That's why he looks lighter in the middle than he does around the edges. Because, you know, when you bake cookies, that's usually what happens. At least in my oven, it does. Okay. So now we get to the end, and I've covered up the name of the recipient. I have a lot of these library pockets with the cards. So I decided to make it look like it's a book that you would have checked out. So in here is the name of the individual that it's addressed to, and there's a little personal note in the pocket, just in case that person who receives it doesn't think to look at the card. So look at the card, pull it out, and you'll see my little personal note that I've handwritten inside the pocket. And then here are the books. I actually went through and looked up how to do a bibliography. It's been a long time. I didn't have all the information that they were asking for, but I tried. These are the three, two books here at the top, and then this one is the digital that I got off of Etsy. So it's 175 Grandma's Cake and Cookie Recipes, if you're interested in that. These two you could probably find. They're out of print probably, but they're pretty cool books. You may be able to find one used if you're interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, this is both a recipe book and a little gift embellishment book for the recipient, and I hope they enjoy it. It was a fun thing to create. I'm probably going to try and do a couple of more of these. Hopefully, I don't want to promise because I never know what my time is like. But I had so much fun doing this. I may do the spine a little bit differently, because I think I have one book that's not a golden book, so it doesn't even have this foil. And I may just punch through the book cover using my, what do you call that thing? You know, the thing that makes little holes. I forgot what it's called now. But cinch, that thing. I may use my cinch to do one of them because I want to put rings on it, since this is really fat. And I'm trying not, I didn't want to make it too fat, but it ended up being really thick, and it's probably because of what I have inside of it. As you use up the things that are inside of this, or if you take them out, this book will get a lot smaller, and then you'll just have the recipes in it, with some pockets, and you can tuck, you can tuck other recipes that you may pass through the family in here and use it as a keepsake. So I thought that would be fun to make for this person, and I hope they enjoy it. So that's it for now. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and I hope you have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.